God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mike Golic.
God bless football, Mikey A.
And God bless football, Stugotz.
Yep, it is a big weekend. Mike, you have the Eagles-Dolphins game Sunday night, correct?
Yes, I do. Looking forward to that one. See, what's going to be interesting, and I talked to my play-by-play guy, Ryan Radke, about it, we kind of talk about storylines. And one of the storylines, now I played for 3 teams in the NFL, and these are 2 of them.
Right.
The Dolphins and the Eagles. And I think one of the discussions we're going to have is which Ring of Honor will I go into first, the Eagles or the Dolphins Ring of Honor? I think that's one of the big storylines of the game.
Right. You should be in the Eagles Ring of Honor, though. You should be, Mike.
No, I shouldn't.
Yes, you should.
Thank you, but no, I shouldn't.
No, we support Mike Golic on the show. Billy, what are your feelings on this? Ring of Honor? Really?
Here's what I would like. I would like that if you peeled off the Reggie White one,
right
behind it was a Mike Golic one that nobody could see. But it's there. You have to peel off the Reggie White one.
That was my career. I was behind Reggie as he got to the quarterback. He always beat me by 2 steps, at least there, right?
Right.
Maybe I'll be on their wall of fame for like media, not for actual football play.
Well, there you go. I like the idea of Reggie's being able to move and Mike's can never move. Like that's
I'm stationary. That's exactly right.
Mike, I want to get to some of the NFL games quickly. So for me, there are 3 big games this weekend. We'll do Dolphins and Eagles last year. That's the game you're on Sunday night. Westwood won. But I want to start with the Lions and the Ravens and your thoughts on that game. Because, Mike, it's interesting. Detroit, my entire life, they've been really, really bad. And now people are talking about them as a team that could make it to the Super Bowl. Might be the best team in the NFL. Jared Goff for MVP. This is a really big game for both teams, Mike.
Oh, a huge game. I mean, you look at Detroit. I mean, we know about their offense, right? Because we saw it last year with the points they could score. They're a top 10 defense.
Right.
They have lifted that part. They worked a lot on their secondary in the offseason. They are a top 10 defense now going against Lamar Jackson, who is on pace. We talked about with the Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator, that there'd be more passing, less running. He is on pace for less than 1,000 yards rushing, and he's on pace for a career high in passing. I think we're at a little over 3,500 yards he's on pace for, and his high was a little over 3,100 yards. So it's kind of holding true. Now, I do think eventually for Baltimore, he is going to be around that 1,000 yards or more and have to run to be successful to do what they want to do. But the passing is improving. But I've talked about this, guys, with Detroit. Now, football is the most popular sport in the country, and NFL is the most popular, and then it's college. So most people have a team. But, man, if your team's not in it, or for some reason just like football and don't have a team, how do you not root for Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they? I mean, they're about to go, if they go 6-1, it would be the first time since like the 1700s that they've been 6-1. I mean, it's crazy how long it's been for them. But I love the attitude that Jared Goff playing with an edge. Remember, Jared Goff is a guy his rookie year.
Yeah.
When they were talking to him out with the Rams, didn't know that the sun rose in the east and set in the west. I mean, and we were having fun with that too. This guy has kind of rejuvenated his career in Detroit, has that kind of chip on his shoulder attitude that the rest of the team has, which they got from Dan Campbell. So a great matchups on both sides, right? Big time offense for Detroit, high scoring against always tough defense from Baltimore, and now a top 10 Detroit defense against Lamar Jackson led offense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
Mike, Goff is interesting from this standpoint. That's the rare trade in the NFL that really worked out for both teams.
Exactly.
Stafford went to the Rams, they won a Super Bowl, and now the Lions have Goff. They developed him into a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, whatever you want to call him, and they have him for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and the thing you can never get around is attrition. You see David Montgomery gets hurt in Detroit, and that's the one thing as we do all our prognosticating at the beginning of the year, you don't know who's going to get hurt. And somebody does. It's not an if people get hurt, it's when they get hurt and how bad are they hurt. And that's what every team deals with during the regular season, and you hope that it happens early and you're better by the end of the year. But what a great kind of close to midseason matchup this is with two teams that listen, a lot of us picked Detroit to win the division.
Right.
And a lot of that was because we thought Detroit was going in the right direction, but also that the rest of the division was taking a step back, especially the Green Bay Packers losing Aaron Rodgers. So, and for Baltimore, we keep waiting for Cincinnati to get back to what they were, and it's taken them a little while. So it is Baltimore, and a lot of these teams in the AFC North are led by their defense, quite honestly, especially Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Chargers and Chiefs is an interesting game as well. We'll get to the Dolphins and Eagles last year. Chargers, Mike, I do not understand how a team with Justin Herbert, with Austin Ekeler, with Keenan Allen, with Khalil Mack, I mean, this team should not be 2-3. It's puzzling. They're a puzzling team, Mike.
And I just had them last week against the Cowboys, where the Cowboys ended up getting that win. They feel, I agree, Stu, they feel like they're underachieving, right? I mean, that's it. And eventually, and unfortunately, I never call for firings, and I wish nobody ever did, but we know that's not how it works. That's what's going to cost Brandon Staley his job. He's a defensive coach, and his defense isn't good, right? You have this high-flying offense, but even that, I mean, their last 3 losses, I believe, were by less than 8 points or something like that combined, or a couple of losses out of that. They can't win the big games. They can't get over that hump with all that talent they have on offense. It's been somewhat surprising, quite honestly. I mean, and the offensive line struggled. While Dallas only had 1 sack, Dallas had a 47% pressure rate, which is crazy. It's almost half the times Herbert was in the pocket, he got pressured. So I am surprised as well. That's all I can say about them, is they seem to be really underachieving with the talent they have.
What'd you make of the Chiefs kind of admitting an error that they may have made this offseason and trading to get McCole Hardman back from the Jets?
Isn't it amazing? It's almost like this is what Bill Belichick would pull off, right?
Yes.
Get rid of a guy before you're supposed to pay him big money, let him go somewhere else, and then bring him back on the cheap, or at a lesser rate, or didn't have to pay him that money. And now you're doing that with Hardman. You may be doing it with Frank Clark too,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's unreal how these guys and these guys are sprinting away from their situations in New York and Denver. Well, Gregory was released, so he didn't have a choice there.
Right. But, Mike, the Chiefs have become that team where if you're one of those guys who gets let go by a team, you have some talent, or you're at the end of your career and you're fishing for a Super Bowl, you go to Kansas City,
Why not? I mean, you're in the mix every single year, and if they're going to have you, and that's what we were waiting for. That was one of the worries for me in Kansas City, is who steps forward in the wide receiver room, because you have Travis Kelce, Pacheco at running back. You have a good offensive line, especially that interior. Who steps up? That had been the rookie Rice who had been stepping up some, but you needed somebody else to be able to trust, and maybe Hardman's going to be that guy.
All right, Mike, we have about a minute. Your game Sunday night, Dolphins and Eagles, the big game of the weekend. You can make a case that this could be a Super Bowl preview. So, I mean,
I just look at some of the stats of this thing. Miami has a number 1 rushing offense. The Eagles have the number 2 rushing defense.
Right.
The quarterback hits, the Eagles are tied for second with San Francisco with 46 quarterback hits. Miami leads with 49, even though Miami statistically isn't very good defensively. Jalen Hurts ranks second in the NFL in total yards. Guess who he's behind? Tua. A.J. Brown is second amongst receiving yards in the NFL. Guess who's first? Tyreek Hill. I mean, this is just a matchup of top talent, even though the Eagles haven't been playing at the level that we've accustomed to them seeing that got them to the Super Bowl last year. They certainly had the talent to do it. Lane Johnson being hurt on the right tackle position really, really hurts the Eagles. But, man, am I looking forward to this game.
Billy, that sounds like a man who's calling a game. Mm-hmm. I mean, did you see it? He rattled off all those stats.
You said a lot of nothing, too.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean,
there. Just gave some numbers.
I'm usually not a stat guy, but the stats match up to just how good these sides of the ball are and individuals are playing this year.
All right, on the video side, if you're watching on television, Austin Ekeler going to join us next. On the audio side, Mike Golic is going to take a sledgehammer to Billy's head because Billy hasn't been nice to him.
Why'd you get punched in the head?
Right.
That was wild, wasn't it?
It was wild.
It looked like you're the peacemaker there, and you caught a stray.
Hey, man, sometimes the people that are the peacemakers, catch collateral, damage.
Right. Can you walk us through that? Like, set the scene. What happened there? What happened before the game last night? You guys got in a fight with the Dallas Cowboys. Someone punched you in the head, and your helmet came flying off.
Yeah. So, good thing I was wearing my helmet. But here's what happened. So, before the game, we all have like these big like stretch lines and do these little drills, and people come out at different times. Well, the DBs come out of the tunnel, and at the same time, Dallas had some group, I don't know if it was a D-line or someone that was also coming out. And because of that, there was just like this crossing that ended up taking place. And apparently during the crossing, something was either said or someone was bumped. And, testosterone, you bump somebody, now it's just a big old puff my chest, And so people were pushing each other around. And my drill that I'm going to is like right next to the area. And I look over, I hear a bunch of people hollering and stuff like that. And I look over, and one of our corners, Zont, is in there like pushing this guy, like pushing him in the face, and they're pushing each other back and forth. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get my guy out. So I come jogging in. I'm not at the same level of intensity that anyone is, right? So I come like kind of strolling in. These guys are all yelling, cussing each other out. And so we're two different mindsets here. And so I come strolling in, like, all right, Zont, come on. Like, we can't be doing this, bunch of knuckleheads. And all of a sudden, wham, like I just get hit in the side of the head, and my helmet goes flying, and I'm just like, what the heck even happened? I didn't even take, anything time to stop and think. I just was getting my guy out. It was like my reaction, like, hey, get your own guys out. You get the guys that are right fighting out, then it'll die out. Then I caught some of the collateral damage, like I said, going in there. But hey, nonetheless, I'll get up in there. It's no big deal.
Was your helmet fully strapped? Like, what the hell?
No, it was. It was not
off?
strapped. Yeah, okay. It wasn't strapped. It wouldn't have come off. I've been hit a lot harder than that. But it was just sitting on my head, and so boom, it just popped off. Yeah.
Did it hurt?
No. That's why I said it was good. I was wearing a helmet because
I know, but the way the helmet came off your head, it seemed like that might have hurt. I don't know.
I don't know if you watch me, but I play running back, so I'm a human battering ram.
Yeah.
So it's in my nature to get hit really hard by these guys.
Right.
You don't have to say it, Austin. I'll say it, Austin. Dante Fowler's. I'll say it.
Yeah.
He's a dick.
Yes, he's a dick. Yeah.
I didn't say, I don't know what happened. I don't know who said what happened. I just knew I was getting my guys out. I don't want them getting fined. So, hey, save your money, boys. I'll get you out of there.
Austin, I did notice this. Once the helmet came off and you're in the middle of a scrum, you're like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
So that's what I did. I got my guy. I'm like, okay, let me get my guy. I'm getting out. And that was my contribution to, trying to die down the altercation.
Right.
Yeah. That was so funny because that was all over the place. People were texting me like, hey, man, why are you out there starting fights? I was like, look, if the circumstances are high, I'm signing up. I'll go fight. I'll do what I need to do. I'll get it done. And that, like things like that, like I try to stay as far away. Like I'm not trying to be around these petty fights, being around these, high tension situations between people. Like, come on. And if I see it happening with my crew, I'm going to go in there, defend them, get them out of there because they need to be doing that. You don't need to be donating $20,000 to the NFL's fine fund, before the game. Come on.
All right, so I got kind of an odd question for you. There was also a fight between the Browns and the 49ers, or there was about to be one. Then Trent Williams walked over and everybody just chilled out.
That's because he ends all fights.
That's what I'm saying. So who's the guy on your team that you're just like, man, I just hope he walks over right now because then this is just over?
Ooh, do we have a guy on our team? I mean,
it wasn't you. We know that.
No, it wasn't you. We saw that.
No, he got his helmet off. Got the hell out of there, Billy. I got to be honest. I don't feel like Josh Kelly really did you good there. Like, he should have punched Fowler right in the face, man.
So, hey, Zay did. Isaiah Spiller. He's the other guy. And I actually texted him. I was like, hey, thanks for having my back in there because he started going after him after he hit me. So shout out to Isaiah. Do we have a guy like that? I don't know. I feel like Rashawn, any of our offensive linemen, obviously, those guys are just huge. Maybe Rashawn Slater, that'd be a good one. Because if he gets involved, then it's real serious because that man is like laser focused. So I'll go with
But
Rashawn.
Austin, it's so out of character for you because Peacemaker, that makes sense. You as a Peacemaker, that makes sense because that fits your character. You as a fighter does not. Like, it just doesn't. And so
that's what I said. If I'm fighting, the circumstances are very high, and we're way past the point of going back.
Right.
I got to be pushed to the brink.
When's the last time you've been in a fight, like a real fight?
The last time I was in a fight was my freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And I called this guy's girlfriend, an inappropriate name, and he's like, "All right, at the park, we're gonna go fight." And so we went and fought at the park, and I broke my hand, and then I got in trouble because I couldn't play basketball for the rest of the season because I had a cast on my hand. So
Right.
Yeah,
That's old school shit,
like,
right?
No one wins. Like I didn't win. Like I win the fight, but lose. Now I can't even go play basketball. And it's like, come on,
won the fight but lost the war, right?
Exactly. So like, come on.
Wait, so that's some old school shit right there. I'll meet you at the park. Was there like a set time?
Park at lunch,
you
man.
Showed up. Right?
So yeah, him and his crew showed up, and me and my crew showed up. And this dude was a lot taller than me. He was like 6 foot, and I'm still like 5'6". And I remember he was like older than me, so he was like, "Hey, you got to throw the first punch because I don't want to get in trouble." I was like, "All right, wham!" And then we just started going at it. But yeah.
Wait a minute. The guy you were fighting said, "Hey, you need to throw the first punch because I don't want to get in trouble."
Because he was older than me, and he was like 18, and I was like 16, and so. Anyway, we don't need to go into the details of my fighting. Yeah. Let's digress that conversation.
Did Fowler say anything to you during the course of the game? Anything?
Who?
Fowler, the guy who punched you.
Oh no.
I
don't even think he probably wasn't even meaning. I doubt he was meaning to punch me, or maybe he was just swinging, recklessly. I don't know.
Right, and your helmet got in the way. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because I kind of just walked into the ongoing, festivities that were going on, and so I just was getting, pinballed a little bit.
We so appreciate you doing this because Billy and I, honestly, we were not sure if you wanted to do today's appearance, but you are a man that is true to his word. Like, you're coming off a game. It was a tough loss. You've lost, I think, 3 games by a combined 10 points. That's got to be frustrating, Austin, right?
It's devastating, man. As competitors, we are expected to go perform, and we have expectations for ourselves internally, and then we also have expectations for our team. And that's kind of built up on the history of like, hey, what kind of players do we have? What's the ceiling for this team? And those set the expectations where it's like, okay, we've seen a lot of good football from this team. And so that's going to set a standard where it's like, we expect ourselves to go and play at a very high level. And, it is the NFL, which you can see, any team can get beat on any single day. We saw both the undefeated teams get beat this week, and this was no different. It's going to be a battle. We didn't, make enough plays. We had opportunities. We didn't make enough plays, including myself, to really put ourselves in a situation where we were getting out in front. It was, I think of it for myself, like there's such tiny little details that, people on the outside would never even, think about that make the difference. And it's just little techniques here and there that can spring, as a 1-2 yard run into one-on-one with the safety. Like for example, there was a run down in the goal line. We ran like a little power play, and it was like on the 3 yard line, and Rashawn's coming around to pull. And as I'm running through, I'm getting right behind him because he's going to kick out. I'm going to get in behind there, and he kind of gets bumped back just a little bit, but I get turned because of it, because I was a little too close to him. I needed to get a little bit more separation so I could assess when he blocks out and make sure I get through there, but I get bumped and I get turned. And instead of being able to run forward, and actually it would have been a walk-in if I wasn't obstructed, but I get turned. And so now I have to catch my balance, and then I finally get going vertical again, and the safety comes over the top and makes the play on the 1 yard line. And so little things like that, man, that make a huge difference. And you see them play out all over the place, on offense and defense, on both sides of the ball. And so for us, man, like, that's why we practice. That's why we continue to go out there and try to minimize those and make sure that we're on all of our techniques and things. But yeah, it is frustrating, obviously, especially to lose, and then, to be in a close game on Monday night, the whole world's watching. But look, we have another opportunity to come back against the Chiefs. I can tell you this right now, I cannot wait to get back on the practice field, because I feel like, man, we had opportunities. We were right there. And so it's like, man, I cannot wait to go practice to get this stuff ironed out, and then go show what we did during Sunday night, or a Sunday game versus the Chiefs.
Well, you mentioned it. It doesn't get any easier for you, because now you have to go to Kansas City. You play the Chiefs in one of the most difficult environments. Is that one that you wish you weren't coming off of a short week for?
I don't really think it matters, honestly, because we are getting 1 day less. Yes, that is correct. But it really, to me, it really comes down to how people's bodies are feeling. Like, how our guys, we're going to get 1 day less rest, but the preparation will still, our coaches today are already moving on to the game plan. So we're going to have all the preparation that's going to be the same. It is just the 1 day less of, I guess, healing that does give you maybe a slight disadvantage, but I can't really see it playing a big having like a big, consequence, on Sunday. We can still show up ready to play. Yeah.
You might see Taylor, Austin. I mean,
oh God, don't even start that, man. Come on. Look, good for them. But I was so happy because it's kind of died down in the past. And I actually started unfollowing accounts because some accounts were like posting it like 5 times. And I'm like, okay, like, now I'm out of here. Like, these are obviously like trend chasers that are just like, oh, let's just post Taylor because it's going to give us a lot of clicks. And so I'm like, yeah, get out of here. I'll leave those disclosed who I've been unfollowing. But yeah, no, I don't care to see that. I'm going to be locked in. It was actually funny. My family after the game said the same thing, and they're like, if they play on the jumbotron, we're going to be looking down and make sure you don't look up. Like, you better be locked in. Like, I'll be locked in.
They want you to be locked in?
Yeah, they're like, you better not be looking up at the jumbotron.
Wait, I have a question for Billy here. Billy, did you see the final Chargers touchdown? Where because you have Austin on your fantasy team, and you've been waiting patiently for him to get back, and I'm certain you started him. When they tucked it into Austin's stomach and then threw the ball. You wanted that, but you wanted a TD for your fantasy team so badly, didn't you?
Falsehoods. I wanted a TD for Austin's charity. I wanted to raise money for charity.
Yes,
it's been a couple weeks. He hasn't gotten in the end zone. We need to raise some more money.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, I got this. Yeah, this. Oh shoot, I forgot the word for it. What's it called? Help me out, Billy. The
like a promotion?
No, it's the thing you're talking about. The
charity.
Yeah, the charity. I forgot there's a word
fundraiser.
For it. Oh, the pledge. The pledge.
Oh, the pledge. Okay.
So I got a lot of catching up to do on these touchdowns. We were supposed to raise some money because I was supposed to score some touchdowns, and I missed a bunch of games. So now, yeah, a lot of catching up to do.
Austin, how do you feel? We probably should have started there. How do you feel today?
Yeah, that is actually the best part about today is my body feels like ready to go. Like I came out clean. Like I'm so excited. Like I'm okay. Yeah, I made it through a game. Like let's start stacking up, more times where I can come through a game and come out clean. And so it really is a blessing because yes, obviously we want to win the game, but as you can see across, the league every single week, there's guys getting hurt, and it's, minor to major. And so, man, like I love this game, but I love living and being healthy even more. So there's priorities, and that's definitely number one. And then, obviously it sucks losing, but really fortunate to come out of the game and give another try next week.
Quickly, we'll get you out of here. Halloween is something we've been discussing on our show all week. And I am wondering, are you a big Halloween guy? Do you do couples costumes? Do you go to parties? What do you do? Like, take us through Halloween for the Ekler family.
Man, Halloween, it used to be really lit, especially when I was younger. Out in here in LA when I first got to the league and I didn't have my fiance or my girlfriend when she was my girlfriend at the time. And then it was like, okay, we're going to LA once we get like the off day or whatever, or like maybe after the game or something, or maybe we'd have like a bye week during that time. I think my second year. And so we'd be up in LA going to the clubs, things like that, be out and about with people. And it was really a great time. But now I've gotten a little bit older. And so my Halloween has kind of died down in the intensity, and now it's like, hey, let's do some trick or treating at home, pass out candy to the little ones in the neighborhood, and kind of just chill for the night. So my going out and having a good time days of Halloween, which used to be, especially even college, were the best parties, right. Halloween parties, because for a different conversation, but
yeah, I know. No, I know that conversation. Yeah.
Different conversation, but man, like as I've gotten older, no, it's definitely calmed down for me. Now it's more of a civil holiday.
A surprise for you today, Chris Sims.
Does he not know?
Wow.
He does not know.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Really?
Yes,
what do
he
we
does
got?
not know.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, Billy is now so excited. I mean, are we recording yet?
Yeah, we're recording. We have a surprise guest for you
I'm
coming
scared.
up. I didn't know it was a surprise.
Do here.
Sims, I have said there are a few people in my life where upon seeing them, they make me smile. Okay, Greg Cody is one of those people. You're one of those people now. Not for me, not for Billy, but for me. Chris Cody has become one of those people. My father, he is one of those people. Christopher Mad Dog Russo is one of those people.
What are you doing?
I believe the person we're about to bring on is someone, when you see them, and every time you see them, you are going to smile. Okay?
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I have a
do for you, Sims.
I have a prediction.
Look at him. He's excited. Look at him.
I don't know. I'm
Chris like
excited
this.
and nervous. I'm going to be like, who are they bringing on? Who is it?
I feel like this person is going to struggle with Zoom.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worse than Golic.
Yeah.
So is this my dad? It might be my dad.
No. We'll get your dad on at some point. But, the last time I texted your dad, he goes, I know you and my son are up to no good. I'll be with you in a couple of weeks. That was like a year ago. I mean,
that's you got to stay on dad for
I
sure.
will.
I mean, he text messaging, anything like that are not strong points for him.
we will get to the surprise guest in a second. PFT with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America, big one this weekend, Sims. Dolphins, Eagles, big one for you, big one for Billy.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I really am. This is I think, I'm trying to think if we had any other. We've had some good matchups. 49ers Cowboys a few weeks ago, of course, was that. I think I'm actually more excited about this. I am, just because we know how good the Eagles are, how talented the roster is. They're not playing their best football. And Miami, I know they went to the playoffs last year, but they're new to the Super Bowl standard conversation, right? So this will be a big test for them on the road, on a grass field, late October. Playing Philadelphia is going to be pissed off about how they played last week. And, of course, there's just a lot of X's and O's to be excited about in this type of football game for a guy like me.
Yep. Were you more surprised, Chris, by the 49ers losing last week or the Eagles losing last week?
Oh, I'm going to say the 49ers. I think just because not more just because Deshaun Watson didn't play, right? I just thought when Deshaun Watson, I heard he wasn't playing on Thursday or Friday. I just went, wow, that's just going to, as much respect as I have for that Cleveland defense and everything, that's just going to be too much for them to overcome. But a phenomenal performance by them. That was surprising. The Jets one, of course, was shocking as well. But, I mean, if you made me bet on Saturday with the current status of how the rosters and the quarterback were, yeah, I think the 49ers one shocked me a little bit more.
Chris, the trade deadline used to be kind of ho-hum, but it's coming up. And I'm curious, if Chris Sims were the czar of football, what's one move he would make? Who would you take and put where?
Damn.
The czar of football. Hold on a second, Sims. The czar of football could just do whatever he wants. Is that what you're saying, Mikey?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
What's a deal he'd like to see?
Right.
Damn, that's one I wish you would have gave me a little warning about, just to think a little bit. But no, I mean, I think, right away I go to two. One, the Bills getting another weapon. I think we're back there at that point again. That just comes to my mind right away.
Yep.
I think the Chiefs are in need of that as well. The Chiefs, we know they're really good. They're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. I don't know if they can win the Super Bowl or even go to the Super Bowl with the current status of their offense. Like I said, I just think it's a lot of work there. Let me see. I'm just looking through the teams here as I usually do, trying to look at anything else that just really pops to me in that way. I don't know. I guess those are the two that really jump out to me as far as that. But, who's going to be selling? Are there going to be any receivers available here from some of these teams? Like, Arizona, we know they're 1-5. Are they ready to sell like a Hollywood Brown or a Rondale Moore? Or do they want to keep them around for Kyler Murray or Caleb Williams if they want to draft them next year?
Denver, maybe?
Denver could be a seller for sure. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, right? I think they're a team to look at. That's a good call by you, Mikey A, for sure. I think they're one that, could be in that department. New England, nobody wants any of their guys anyways. Tennessee, nobody wants any of their guys anyways either.
Well, Derrick Henry, someone might want Derrick Henry. I mean.
Well, I don't think they're ready to give up on him yet. I don't think. It doesn't seem like it, but you're right. Sure, somebody would want him. Damn, and I don't know. As we go here, maybe I'll pop off with a few different ones in my brain. I will.
But how are we back here with Josh Allen? We were raving about Gabe Davis last week. We're off that train again?
Yeah.
I mean, what happened?
Well, it wasn't last week we were raving about it.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. But I think here it's the second week in a row, two teams played. Here was the big thing to me, without getting too deep into the weeds here and all that. But the Giants did a little bit of what Jacksonville did, maybe in a different way, but basically said, you're not going to throw the ball deep, and we're going to limit your running and scrambling and the magic plays. And the Giants were great at that. If you really go back and watch the film, they never really rushed Josh Allen, like coming around the edge to leave huge gaps between the guard and the tackle. They kind of all said, hey, we're going to push the pocket. We're not going to go by him. We're going to keep eyes on him. And if he breaks, we're going to break with him. Now, he still broke the pocket a few times, as we know, in that miraculous second touchdown pass. But for the most part, yeah, they gave them issues. Buffalo has to find something else in their offense that makes defenses have to think about it. It can't just be bomb to Diggs and Josh Allen scrambling, getting it done. Now, whether they have to be stubborn and the patience with the run game or find more of a surgical 5 to 8 yard passing game to start to get people to come up and respect that and defend that, something has to happen. But, you know, they're going to be good. I know that. Can they get to where they want to go with this current formula? I don't think they can. No.
All right, there is a big guest in the waiting room here. We're going to bring him on right now. My guess is Chris Sims is going to have a big smile on his face when he sees this man, and this man is going to have a big smile on his face when he sees Chris Sims, I hope.
He got the Air Jordans, all the North Carolina gear. I mean, Coach, you're the man. That'll reel in some of those young guys for sure.
Got to be the cool place to be, right, Chris? That's it.
No doubt about it, Coach.
At 72, you have to keep trying to be cool. So it's
Well, no, Coach, I want to start right there. How do you stay cool at 72? Because I'm fading at 52. I mean,
you know, I saw something from Toby Keith yesterday that said, how old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born? And that's pretty cool. So you can't let a number be your age. And I feel like I'm 52. And one of the reasons I love doing TV, but I love being around these guys. And they just keep me young, and everybody talks about all the problems in college sports. The thing that hadn't changed are the guys. They still love to play. They still love to compete. They're still at a very influential time in their lives, and I love being around them. And what a gift for somebody that can help somebody that's struggling change their life.
I'm going to second that. That's what makes Coach Brown special. It is. He was always open to listening to the kids as far as what's cool, what are they doing, what's the music you're listening to. So he tried to, conversate and relate to us, which was like much respect to him that way. We always found that really cool. And then, of course, his wife is really cool, too. So she really keeps him cool. She's top 5 coolest wives in college football. They don't get any better than her. Yeah, she's amazing. So they got a dynamic duo working. And Coach Brown, just because you brought it up, but 52, like you still look 52, and I can still remember the day you turned 52. We were getting ready to actually get off the bus to play North Carolina. And it was his 52nd birthday, and I remember getting off the bus and going, Coach, we're going to put 52 on them tonight, okay, for you. Yeah. And I think we did, right? I think we scored 51 or 53, like right around there.
I think it was 51 to 31.
Right.
Coach never remembers a victory. He never forgets a victory, Sims. He knows the exact score, knows everything.
I do remember that I walked out on the field, and Mack McWhorter and I looked a lot alike. He was the offensive line coach. He walked out on the field first, and they all booed him. And he came back in and said, God, they thought I was you. And I said, yeah. So after the game, we win big. Chris plays great. And gosh, Roy Williams made one of the best catches I've ever seen behind his.
Right.
When the game was over, and Selvin made a long run. And so we're sitting there after the game, and the media says, how'd you feel being booed in Kenan Stadium? I said, I was booed here for 10 years.
Chris has told us, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, that Roy Williams was the best college football player he's ever seen, right?
Yeah, I mean, both Roy Williams, actually. I would say Roy Williams on Oklahoma was the best defensive player I played played against when I was in college. Receiver, I don't think I'm putting this lightly, Coach. I mean, he's one of the greatest athletes I was ever around. 100-meter, 200-meter, long jump, high jump, adjusting the ball. He could do it all, right, Coach?
Yes, and there was a day in the Cotton Bowl that Chris and Roy teamed up and beat a Nick Saban team 35-20, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't near as close as the 35-20, He had a reverse for a touchdown. Chris hit him on a skinny post. He hit him on a takeoff. I mean, he's one of those 6'3" plus guys that could run 4.3. I mean,
right.
And had big hands, so he could catch everything.
Huge. Yeah.
Coach, I will tell you that Billy just informed me that Texas, you won that game 52-21. So Chris Sims was indeed right. I mean, nailed it.
And I had us 51-31, so that shows you 72 slipping a little bit.
Don't take a point away from Chris Sims. Don't you dare do that. Coach, what was it like recruiting Chris Sims? Did his dad get in the way? Like, what happened there?
Chris was great. Chris was he got enamored. I'll say this: Chris is so direct, and I love him for who he is. He got enamored by Tennessee, and that's huge stadium and fan base. I got it, and they were probably more aggressive in the recruiting than we were, because we're who we are, and we say this is what we got, and we'd like for you to come here. And then Chris was strong enough that after he felt like that it wasn't as good a fit for him, he changed. He just flipped, and we don't flip people usually either. So right. I thought it was great. And for us, and sometimes it was a little weird. Major Applewhite was the small redheaded guy that was there, and he was a fan favorite, and I loved him. And Chris was coming from the Northeast, and there weren't many guys from the Northeast. And Chris won, I think you were 22-7, 25-7.
Somewhere in there. Somewhere. It was pretty good.
But we didn't beat Oklahoma the first couple of years because that's when they were really hot. Well, we were killing A&M.
Yep.
And when you're beating somebody really badly, like we were beating A&M, we don't count them anymore. We only count the one we lose. And we lost a conference championship game to Colorado, who was really good, that we had killed earlier in the year. So there are a few things that didn't happen as well as they could have, because we could have as easily won a national championship when Chris was playing as we did when Vince was playing, and then lost one when Colt was playing, because they're three of the best quarterbacks that have ever played the game.
Let me piggyback. That's very nice of you to say, Coach. And yeah, I mean, we didn't go to the national championship because of me. I mean, I played my worst game my junior year in the Big 12 championship game. Kind of started out hot. Coach was always really supportive of me. But even Stugotz, to your question of like the recruiting, so Coach Brown was at North Carolina, and I was always like, man, this Mack Brown and his staff, I love them, right? I didn't know if I wanted to go to a basketball school, okay, as the number one recruit in the country. He goes to Texas, and, I go on a visit. I want to go see Texas, and, they're selling, hey, we're going to bring Texas football back. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. But I wasn't quite sure. I knew I loved my visit, the team, and Coach Brown. I committed to Tennessee. They had some coaching changes. And even when I committed, I was like, I don't know if this is right, but Major Applewhite wasn't there. I might have to redshirt a year. I thought, okay, I'm going to play after that. There'll be no issues. So it might have been less risky. But as time got closer and closer to signing day, and to Mack's credit, because he wasn't like he was calling me, asking me to switch or anything, I actually think I called them. I called Tim Brewster, who was recruiting me. And I was like, hey, maybe you should keep calling. I'm not so sure I'm going to go through with this Tennessee thing. And he'd call and check in. And then one day I think I called Coach Brown. I said, I think I'm going to make the switch. And he's like, okay, that's a bold move. You sure you want to do it? And I did it. And I got a lot of hate mail from the other UT for a long time.
Your team is good, Coach.
Thank you. I'm excited about this team. They're fun. They're practicing hard. I thought it was really interesting, the open date. They had 3 really good practices. And I'm thinking, this isn't normal. But they like each other. They're having fun. We've got some skill. We still haven't played near our best game. We've got a great quarterback. We've got speed at wide receiver. Omarion Hampton's really a good running back. We're playing better defense. So we do have a chance. And we have to play every week. And we got to grow up. But this is an older team. And they've been there, done that. They were 9-1 and lost some games last year we shouldn't have won. So it's easy to pinpoint things that we haven't done well to try to help this team do better.
Coach, tell me about, your quarterback a little bit. Give me a little inside look about, what he's like and what I would like about him and kind of what's making, Drake May who he is.
Chris, he's a lot like you in that he was raised in a football family. He's got he has three older brothers. Two of them won national championships, one in baseball and one in basketball. So they pick on him all the time, but he's very competitive. He had a dad that led the ACC in passing as a quarterback that's helped raise him and get him in the right places and get his throwing motion right. And he loves to play. And like a week before the Syracuse game, open week, and you would have been this way. I said, why don't you back off a little bit? You've thrown the ball every day. You're working hard. You've been banged up some. He said, man, I need to get better. I can't take a play off. I'm not going to come out of a drill. And the kids just love him. He reaches out to all of them. He's so positive. If we miss a block, he gets up and goes back to work. He's tough as hell. So he's one of those guys that has it.
Coach, when you left the game, I think it was 2013 when you left Texas, and then you came back a couple of years ago at North Carolina. The game you left was vastly different than it is today. So was there an adjustment period for you, Coach?
You know, there was, but not as much as people would think. It's happened since I got back. The first year I was back, there wasn't any transfer portal. There wasn't NIL. The only thing that had really changed was early signing day. And so we were having official visits in spring, and that didn't make any difference. They were signing in December instead of February. So that wasn't a drastic change. People thought it was, but it really wasn't. It was just speeded up the process a little bit. But then NIL's changed everything. Transfer portal and NIL colliding together has changed even more things because now you've got to protect people on your own team. Not even thinking about recruiting. They get re-recruited when you get them on your team. So you've got to try to figure out who wants to come for the right reasons instead of who's got their hand out. And then you got to figure out if they play really good, who's going to stay, or are they going to have their hand out the second time and leave?
Right.
So that's the different part. Now, Gene Chizik stayed out 5 years as a defensive coordinator. He comes back. Things have drastically changed on offense. Tempo is so much more than it's ever been, and formations and no substitution on defense. So it was a harder adjustment for him last year than it was for me. And after a year, he's doing a great job for us this year.
Coach, it was an incredible environment this weekend. You had the big win against the University of Miami. The rankings come out. You're now a top 10 team. In only a few years, it seems like you've done the impossible and turned North Carolina into a football school.
You know, I'm one that when Chris was at Texas, Rick Barnes was really good in basketball. We went to a Final Four by 2004. So I believe you can be really good in both, and I think you piggyback off each other. There's a lot of kids that want to come here for recruiting and look at our basketball team. And when we're making a lot of money, that helps everybody. We've got 28 sports, so we need to make that money. So I've never been sensitive about the other sport, but we are on a roll right now. Our fans are pumped. We have a great board of trustees that are all on board, and this whole state embraced the Tez Walker situation and trying to help him and help him get through some tough times. And they're so excited about him being back on the field. And you can't get a ticket. You can't get a ticket this weekend. Believe it or not, Duke's doing really well. The Duke Carolina game is going to be one of the biggest games in the history of this school. Just trying to get a ticket. It's amazing what's happening around here. And I'm excited about it. So it's fun. I wanted to come back. I missed the guys. I didn't know it. Sometimes you get tired, and you're tired of media, and you're tired of fans, and you're tired of parents, and you're tired of administrations, and what you realize is none of that matters. You coach because of the guys, and if you focus on what's right and what's best, then it works. And my job is to treat Chris and Tez Walker like I would want my son to be treated. Period. That's
right.
it.
Awesome.
And
yeah.
If it doesn't work that way, it doesn't work. And I can't tell Chris and Tez that and not do it. So people said, why'd you speak out against the NCAA? I thought they were wrong. And I'm not a guy that speaks out. That's not my personality. But in this situation, if it had been my son, I would have stepped up and said, this is unfair. And that's what I had to do for Tez. And I'm so glad that they changed their mind, saw different things, and have allowed this young guy to play. We're talking about an NFL draft choice. We're talking about NIL money. We're talking about changing a young guy's life here.
Yeah.
we were 4-0 without him. We're better with him. But it wasn't just that he was a great player. It was the right thing to do.
Right. Coach, I want to ask you this as far as, because you were always amazing at recruiting and connecting with the kids and then the family as well. Like, I mean, Mack had my mom and my grandma wrapped around his finger. It didn't matter what school I talked about.
Look at him. I mean,
you should have. My nanny, which was Nancy, she's gone now. R.I.P. to Nanny, but she was always like, "Oh, Christopher, that Mack Brown. And so he was great that way. But what I want to ask you, Coach, is just like, how different is that with the NIL? I know you're still making the connection, but do you have to talk to boosters more and money people more now and just deal with that kind of crap, for lack of a better phrase?
Yeah, Chris, we're being very unfair to our boosters with NIL. We're asking them to pay for coaches. We're asking them to pay for facilities. We're asking them to buy 40 season tickets. And then 28 sports are hitting them up for NIL money. It's fair. It's not sustainable, and we're wearing people out.
Yeah.
They're getting caller ID and saying, "I can't do it anymore. How can I give $1 million here and 500,000 here?" And then somebody else calls them. So it's not going to work the way we're doing it long haul. But what I've decided in the interim here, Chris, is I'm not going to change anything. We're not giving money up front. If you want money, it's not going to be that much money, and you can't live off of it. So if that's more important than coming here, I got it. And don't come and visit, because you're going to get paid by a collective after you get here. If you do well, I've said it's about your ball. It's not about your brand. They can say it's not about the ball. They're not going to pay guys that don't play good.
That's right.
Chris, we're headed more toward an NFL model. That's where we're headed. And hear that, but that's fact. So at some point there'll probably be a salary cap, and this player is going to make more than that player, but there's going to be a certain amount of money that goes to these players. And there are some things about NIL that are wonderful. Kids are learning how to give back. They're learning how to pay taxes. There were kids on your team at Texas that didn't have any money. They couldn't even go on a date, and now they can. They can get some money. So that they're the charity part of it that they have to be involved with to get their money is helping them learn to give back so much. So as much as we criticize NIL, it's not the method or it's not the NIL itself. It's just the methods that we're doing the process that needs to change.
Fun little episode this week, huh?
Nice episode, yes.
Yeah, TV side, audio side, different versions, but still a fun episode. On the audio side, we had Raheem Mostert talking to Austin Ekeler.
So if you missed that, if you're watching us on TV right now and you want to hear from Raheem Mostert, you have to go to the audio side, the audio version of God Bless Football.
We also got extended Golic on the audio version of God Bless Football.
Mm-hmm. The guys making picks.
Yeah, we have the guys making picks. That's true. We haven't had the guys making picks on here yet.
Right. Well, because they curse a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
They do, or K-Funk does.
Okay. I didn't want to single anyone out.
K-Funk curses a lot. The content has also been cleaned up a little bit now that Jabba hasn't been on. Jabba,
I don't blame Jabba for not coming on, by the way.
No, me neither.
Everyone get off Jabba's back. People are giving him crap on Twitter. Leave him alone, okay?
By the way,
Jabba did it for free for 2 years and got his Eli Manning. Leave the man alone.
By the way, also, I believe that Jabba announced that he has a podcast coming out soon. So go, I'm going to reach out to him and see if I can get info on that. Go support Jabba however you want, because people will still write to him. He's like, is it God Bless Baseball? Is it God Bless Baseball? I'm like, no, but I'm still open to it. So hopefully one day we can make that happen with Jabba. I still want to work with Jabba and do a show with Jabba, but it's not at this moment. So anyway. We asked Austin Ekeler. Were you surprised we asked Austin Ekeler about getting punched in the head?
Well, no, we had him on the morning after he got punched in the head.
Yeah, that's why. But I'm asking if you're surprised that we just went there right away and asked him, hey, what was it like getting punched in the head?
We went right into Austin. He's a friend of ours. We like him.
Pregame.
Right, it was. It happened before the game.
Yeah.
I thought it was fat. It was so out of character for Austin to be doing it. We've gotten to know Austin a little bit on the show.
Yeah.
He's a peacemaker. He's a lover. He's not a fighter.
Well, that's how he got hit in the head, though, because he was trying to
make peace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Got his head exploded.
Well, no, it's just...
the helmet popped off.
Yeah, he just got hit with helmet came off.
Go to strike.
Dante Fowler. What'd you call him earlier in the episode, Mike?
Don't say it.
Don't say it on TV. It's why we can't air the K-Funk segment.
Yeah.
Dolphins and Eagles, Billy.
Big one this week.
It is.
Yeah. How do you think it's going to go?
I think the Dolphins are going to win.
Really?
I think the Dolphins are the best team in the NFL. I do.
I hope so. I'm worried about another Bills repeat.
Listen, win or lose, we have no idea. But I just think they're the best team in the NFL.
All right.
And I think they'll win the game outright.
All right. Well, God bless football.
God bless football.